you about the lesson that brought about the greatest reward from a decade of designing and building the Aspire program. In the beginning, Aspire was only an idea, something that Cami Doobie and I, as co-founders, kept track of in a plastic, portable file tote. The program grew from there and became real when 36 students and a dozen teachers joined us in the summer of 2002. Now, I learned a million lessons in the decade I worked on Aspire. Some necessary, some funny, and some heart-bending. Today, I'm going to tell you about one lesson that has changed me profoundly, but it is not just me. If you visit Aspire today, you will still see this lesson being learned. You'll feel it. I believe everyone who's ever known Aspire has been changed by this lesson. It's shared by some truly remarkable people, all who would not know one another if Aspire hadn't forged the connection. Aspire is a program at Hathaway Brown that helps girls build stronger pathways to college. We help girls become the first in their family to attend and get a degree. Today, it's run by Camille Seals. She's known the program from nearly the beginning. It's in her capable hands that all of this continues to thrive, and she's propelling it all forward. Aspire girls are accepted when they're in 5th grade. We're looking for girls who are doing really well but need additional support. They're girls who come from families and communities where very few people have been to college. The program's tuition-free, making it accessible, and each girl makes a multi-year commitment. Now, 120 girls come to our college campus every day, or come to our campus every day for the summer sessions. It's all designed to increase a girl's investment in her learning and her leadership and her choices. Now over 400 girls have been involved. The oldest are college graduates with real jobs, and the youngest just got their applications. They don't know they've been accepted yet. They won't get those fat letters until a little later this spring. Aspire also offers interns an introduction to the teaching field. It's a place where you work to learn what it means to teach. Aspire interns are recruited from high schools all over Cleveland and colleges all over the country. They're all mentored by highly talented, seasoned, experienced professionals. They teach subjects they love in academic classes, and they run activities that involve the girls in new pursuits, like knitting and gardening, or robotics and Chinese language. From the beginning, Aspire teachers are crafting lessons and getting feedback about their teaching every day. Charlotte first interned at Aspire when she was an undergraduate student at Columbia. Now, she's a PhD candidate in the Teaching, Learning, and Teacher Education program at the University of Pennsylvania. Her research focuses on the intersection of identity, race, and gender in education. There are dozens and dozens of Aspire teachers who found their way into classrooms and schools. Aspire interns become credible and informed advocates for education. So all of this that I've just described for you really did come out of a plastic box. I've sometimes wondered about that plastic box, and maybe it had some magic to it. I wish I still had it. But everything that came out of that plastic box has changed me. And today I'm going to tell you about one lesson. To do that, I'm going to tell you a story. You see, Aspire students and teachers begin every day together in morning meeting. I'm going to tell you a story that I've shared with Aspire girls there. It's an ancient story, and it's been retold many times. Of course, I'll put my own twist on it for you today. It's a story from India, and both of my parents immigrated from India. So this story connects my girlhood with theirs. And that's an unlikely connection right there. Are you ready? In a remote village lived 4 blind men. One day, something new came to this village that set everyone buzzing. The 4 men heard about it. They became curious. They decided they wanted to learn more, even though they knew they wouldn't be able to see this new thing with their eyes. On approaching, the first man put out his hands and immediately said, "Oh, This new thing is just like a wall. The second disagreed. No, this is a tree trunk, he said. Now the third hesitated. He heard what his friends had to say, and he doubted himself. When he finally spoke, he said, "What I'm holding has me thinking about a rope." The fourth became agitated, angry. He started yelling at them. "You're all wrong," he said. "This new thing is a sword." So an argument began. At this point, a wise woman arrived on the scene. She heard them arguing and stepped in to explain. "This new thing that's come to our village," she said, "is an animal with all of the components that you're describing. The wall is the animal's body. The tree trunk is one of the animal's forelegs. The rope is the animal's tail, and the sword is, in fact, the animal's tusk." An immediate hush settled over the group of 4 men. They settled not because they'd been told they were right, although that was quite reassuring. They settled because they felt awestruck. If you have ever visited the Cleveland Zoo, at any point since the elephant crossing exhibit opened in 2010, you may know a little bit about how they felt. Elephants are the largest land-living animals. Seeing one is startling and awe-inspiring. The very concept of an elephant was simply too much for any one of these men to imagine alone, bigger than any one of them could have taken in at once. Were it not for the fortunate arrival of the wise woman and the long-standing connection among the 4 men, they realized they would have fallen hopelessly short, and maybe uncertain of their ability to know anything at all. They certainly could have left angry with one another. You remember how furious that 4th man was? He might have even tried to start wielding that sword he thought he was holding. Instead, the wise woman had changed their understanding of the world, and their ability to act in it had changed too. Our world is filled with an infinite number of elephant-like concepts: love, leadership, justice, all perhaps too much for you to behold on your own. If you pursue them, however, you will know some of the world's most beautiful concepts, and you will have profoundly changed your ability to take action in this world. Let me tell you how this happens at Aspire. Last month, Catherine and Erica and Megan, 3 students from Aspire's first class, pictured here, now graduates of college. Just look at them. I've known them since they were 10. They asked Rhonda out for dinner. They all went to a Japanese restaurant. Now, none of these 3 knew Rhonda during their time at Aspire. There's just too big of an age difference for there to have been an overlap. But Rhonda spotted Megan wearing an Aspire t-shirt while at work a few years ago. And that's how this unlikely connection, 4 young women from 4 different places in Cleveland, 4 different sets of life challenges, 4 distinct and beautiful personalities, and soon to be 4 different college experiences, came together through an independent school for girls in Shaker Heights, Ohio. They were so engrossed in the conversation that night, they didn't even take a picture, making it one of the only events in recent history that involves young people and no selfie. The evening did consist, however, of a gift of books and dinner and conversation. These 3 wanted to celebrate with Rhonda and tell her everything they knew about being in college. A bit like leadership and love and justice, for most people, college is one of those elephant-like concepts, unknowable alone. If you want to pursue life's most beautiful things, the ones that will change your ability to take action in this world, you have to pursue connections like these. So what do you do? How do you begin? It's easy, don't worry. How do you begin to make connections like that of the wise woman? That requires 3 commitments, and we hold each of them close at Aspire. The first commitment is know yourself. You have to know who you are, and you have to assert your perspective. So if you reach out and experience a rope, say so. That's important. It may not be complete, but it's important. I think you have to see the space that you take up before you can see where that touches elsewhere. Noni, an Aspire student who's now a 9th grader, recently told me, Aspire is a place where you can be yourself. And if you have the chance to be yourself, you are finally going to get to know yourself. Aspire is designed to give girls choices. Where would you like to sit at lunch? What will you do when you are free? Which workshop would you like to take? Who should be in your group? You won't know what you think if no one ever asks you. We ask Aspire girls what they think all the time and give them the space to record and adjust that. One Aspire assignment asks them to compose I am poems. I am from homemade oatmeal and grandma's stories at bedtime, one writes. And the girls who listen to her read her poem aloud can say, love it, but I am not from that. You will chart unknown territory when forging unlikely connections, and it will feel impossible at times. If you want to try, you have to know who you are, know what you think, and you have to know what you feel is right. That's home. Pushing yourself into unfamiliar territory will only be possible if you can find your way home. Charting unlikely connections means you cannot stay home all the time, but you always need to know where home is and how to get there. The second commitment requires that you seek help, that you build a team. Everything at Aspire is collaborative. Everything is a group project. Everyone is a mentor and is being mentored simultaneously. We're all learning from each other. There is a team behind every lesson that happens at Aspire. Teaching is an art. Teaching is an art that requires courage at any point in a person's career. But especially at the beginning, just think about those first classes. Build in the expectation that help will be required and offered from the very beginning, and you launch a new teacher in a remarkable way. Every summer for a long time now, we've held Love Your Body Day at Aspire. It's not something we invented. Tracy from Princeton and Emily from Smith brought it to us from their college campuses. We implemented it as a way of teaching self-care and media literacy and health. Pulling it off each year requires this incredible amount of brainstorming and problem solving and lesson planning and side-by-side teaching. The result is a whole slate of classes, creative, forward-thinking, and relevant classes about being well. You see, well-being is another one of the world's elephant-like concepts. Ask for help, build a team, and you will get closer than you ever could alone. Cami Doobie and I created every element of Aspire together. Working together was joyful and drove the quality higher than either one of us could have achieved alone. Working together, we were more nimble, we gained perspective, we were able to deliver more. You simply just can't go it alone and achieve the same satisfaction. Know you're going to need to ask for help. If you don't invite a connection to the part that you do not yet know or cannot yet do, the depths of your connections will go unexplored. The third commitment invites you to recognize that people want to be part of something bigger than themselves. It's human nature to yearn for that belonging. You'll be surprised by how powerfully that need will connect. That's Aspire. People come to level the playing field. People come because Aspire makes it possible to work for greater access to higher quality education. You have to believe that elephants exist if you ever want to find one. At its heart and in its core, Aspire is about finding hope and staying hopeful for yourself, for the girls, for teachers, and for schools. You simply can't change the world if you don't believe change is possible. Each of these 3 commitments will help you forge unlikely connections. Know yourself, build a team, and recognize that people want to be part of something bigger than themselves. Your walls and tree trunks and ropes and tusks or swords, whatever they may be in your life, can come together and make sense. There's a way to bring different elements together for unparalleled understandings. There are as yet undiscovered connections between people and ideas and experiences and places. Forge them. Be the hero in the elephant story. Be the hero in the elephant story and discover any of the infinite number of concepts that are spectacular and beautiful to behold, none of which you can know alone, and all of which will profoundly shape your ability to act and have influence in this world. Now this lesson connects me to you, and I couldn't be more delighted. Thank you.